Sorry, now you can go.
What is up, Miss Elzel's classroom? I'm your host, Joey Gangle. Let's get right into the news. So today we'll have Nikki Godremes talking about current events throughout the world. After that, we'll have Savannah talking about paranormal activity. Oh, spooky, spooky. And then we'll have Harrison talking about natural disasters. There's sad stuff over there. And we'll have me talking about that dang technology that all those kids have. So, let's have Nikki.
Ciao. An Italian royal was sadly killed in a cycling accident in central London on November 2nd. The royal who was killed was 21-year-old Filippo Corsini. Corsini died when a 42-year-old careless driver struck him with a truck. Mr. Corsini was an Italian prince and heir to the throne, and was also distantly related to Pope Clement XII. This all happened at 12:40 p.m., and we give our support to the family. More than 200 people are dead after boats filled with refugees capsizes. Survivors say as many as 240 have died in the shipwrecks. And this happened on the coast of Libya while trying to get to... This is... Can I go back? Without touchscreen. Survivors say as many as 240 have died in the shipwrecks. This happened at the coast of Libya while trying to get to Europe. This horrible incident has brought the total amount of immigrants missing or dead in the Mediterranean Sea to 4,220. This is the highest record ever. There were only about 30 refugees who have survived this tragedy. Many were sub-Saharan Africans. ISIS leader al-Baghdadi emerges after Iraqi forces take the ISIS-held city, Mosul, on November 3rd. Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi came in and spoke to his supporters despite attacks to other countries. This was a 30-minute message and was titled, "This is what Allah and His messengers have promised us." The last time that he has been seen and heard of was December of 2015. Our last story in the segment is, Hillary Clinton falsely claims that she was in New York City on 9/11. She was at a campaign rally in Sanford, Florida, when she stated that terrorism, she was actually in New York City on 9/11. But at this time, she was a U.S. Senator, and she was actually in Washington, D.C. She came to New York City the day after on 9/12/01. This is all I have. Thanks for listening. Joey, back to you.
Okay, so that was very interesting. But also in the news, we have Savannah talking about that paranormal activity, but not the TV show.
Boo! Did I scare you? No? Well, sometime in your life, you most certainly heard a noise in the midst of night, or when alone at night. You have definitely felt a chill in hot summer heat, haven't you? Well, that, my dear child, was the mysterious paranormal, or perhaps the supernatural. There have been many paranormal investigations, most of which are fake and just there to scare people, but then you have the 100% accurate ones that will chill you to the bone. Such example is that of the paranormal investigation of the haunted Madison Seminary in Madison, Ohio. Now, this place isn't as much as haunted as it is to bring a dark, depressing, and sad past. When inside, the feeling of sadness and pain is so strong you might actually pass out. There's a reason behind this, like there is for almost everything in this world. This very building housed widows of war, the elderly, orphan children, and the mentally ill for several years. This next story is found when a paranormal investigation team was taking pictures outside and inside the Newsham Park Hospital and Orphanage. The team says there was nothing suspicious about the place, but when one of the members arrived home and was going through the pictures, he had gotten a peculiar surprise in one of the photos of all the nurses who had worked there. There was an unmistakable ghostly figure smiling and looking at the camera. This figure was most certainly not there when the photo was taken of the portrait. Want a good scare next Halloween? Here are 5 of the most haunted buildings in Retford, UK that you should definitely not visit unless you want to pee your pants. The White Hart, which is a bar and or hotel. West Retford Hotel, Retford Town Hall, the Elms Hotel, and Sherwood Ranger Inn. Next, we have your host, Joey Gandalf, talking about the technology
Man, that was really scary, Savannah. Thank you for that. But so now we have, personally, not biased here, my favorite subject of the show, and that's technology. So lately, I'm sure most of you have heard of this, but virtual reality has become a thing, and it's very exciting. But most people don't really have an understanding of what virtual reality is. The definition of virtual reality comes from virtual meaning near, and reality meaning reality. So, like, virtual reality could be anything that is near reality or human emulation. But now it's not really just anything that's human emulation. So the world we know is just a combination of our senses, like the 5 senses we learn in school, which is hearing, sight, taste, touch, and something else. Forgot. But there's also I don't know. But there's also other senses that we don't learn about, like balance, like heat, pain, and some other ones. Like one of them is just knowing where your body is. So that combines, and this is what makes virtual reality possible. If we feed our senses made-up information, we get like a made-up world, and it's really cool. But how is this all achieved? Most virtual reality will use computer technology such as headsets, and other products include omnidirectional treadmills, which is like this. It's a virtual treadmill that like you stand in, and you can like run around, and you stay in the same place. And but that's the problem that most virtual reality games are facing. Movement, it's really hard to move around in the games because you can't really, if you're in just a room, you bump into walls and stuff. And other products are these gloves, which can replace controllers like this for one of the headsets, which is the HTC Vive. And these kind of take the place of that, and since they're kind of awkward to hold and stuff. But it's a lot harder than it sounds. Virtual reality could be nauseating if it's not done correctly. And one of the causes from that is the field of view. So most video games that you play will be locked at around the 68 FOV, which stands for field of view. But the highest that most games will go is 110, which is super big. But humans can see 180 degrees, which is if you just your peripheral vision, with your peripheral vision, you can see almost all behind you a little. And if the virtual head and the VR headsets aren't at 180 degrees, you can get motion sickness and stuff, which isn't good, and you can have headaches, stuff like that. But all of this sounds pretty cool, but what can it be used for? And that is where the stuff gets really exciting. The biggest use for it right now is entertainment, watching Netflix, stuff like that, video games. Almost every game development company that has their hands on some type of virtual reality game development, stuff like that. But there are other uses than just sitting on your couch, watching Netflix, and being in TV. It can be used for really anything that's too dangerous or too expensive to actually put people in a field. Military training, once virtual reality becomes more mainstream, almost all military training will probably be have virtual reality, because it's just so much easier and safer than actually having guns and stuff like that and shooting things. But also the medical field will benefit from it. Surgeons being able to practice surgeries and stuff where you don't need someone to donate a body would be a really big advancement. But also architects and any construction company will be able to benefit from it, because being able to put yourself in the building before it's actually created is huge, monumental. It just saves so much time, resources, and energy. But education will also benefit. Being able to do different tech activities and stuff in virtual reality will be very, very monumental. Like iPads, that's already taken us very far in school, but virtual reality will take us a step farther. And that's pretty much it. It's all of it. There's a lot more stuff. And but it's going to be really, the next couple of years are going to be really good. So, now, we will take it over to Mr. Harrison Hamren, talking about natural disasters.
I'm your weather person, Harrison Hamren. Today we're talking about the tragic story of Hurricane Matthew and a minor earthquake in Chicago. Hurricane Matthew started on September 28, 2016. This huge hurricane started to grow bigger and bigger, and when it got to land, it was awful, killing over 1,500 people. The Category 4 hurricane swept through the Caribbean and went up the east coast of the United States. They had to evacuate parts of Florida near the coast because it was so bad. It eventually died out on October 10, 2016. It may not have been as bad as Katrina in 2005, but it was the worst hurricane to come from the Atlantic since Hurricane Felix in 2007. Now let's talk about the earthquake that we had recently. In the past week, we just had a minor earthquake here in Chicago. It was very small. It was only a 3.9 magnitude. You may not have felt it in the early hours of Thursday, November 10th, but it was there. The experts say it would only have felt like a loaded truck passing by your house, so you may not have thought anything of it. Thank you. Until next time, I'm your weather person, Harrison Hamren. Now back to you.
Very sad stuff, Harrison, Mr. Hamren. But now, the story that you've all been waiting for. Animals, but not cats. I'm sorry. Take it away.
Well, we have a special one today, Joey. This one's about Bud Nelson, the first dog ever to drive cross country. Savannah.
The daring pup Bud drove with his owner Horatio Nelson Jackson and a co-driver and mechanic, C. Wall K. Crawford. Now with Harrison for the details of this whole story.
This all started in 1903. They drove a car. The car they drove had no roof, limited suspension, belched smoke, and noxious flames. The wind and drag was so dangerous that Bud actually had to wear goggles. Joey, take it over.
Man, I don't think I'd want to be him. But with this whole trip, everything ended up costing Jackson around $8,000. A lot of money. You could say it was a expensive trip. That was a bad one. So sadly, that's all the news we have today. But don't turn your TV off yet. We have our daily spoiler alert, and I know you all have been wanting to see that Star Wars Force Awakens. Sorry, Han Solo dies. Thank you. Tune again, and tune into the spoiler alert again tomorrow.